Hash browns on keto. Like all my recipes, the ingredients are simple and easy. This one has something that's very different in it. 2 turnips. Yes, 2 turnips. And those are going to be the star of the show. This is my first time attempting hash browns with turnips, but I have tried turnips in corned beef hash, and I thought, well, that would be good in hash browns. So I'm going to give it a try. Anyway, we have 1 egg, 1/4 cup of mozzarella cheese, 2 tablespoons of minced onions. I'm using fresh today, but if you don't have that, you can put a teaspoon of just onion powder and garlic powder, or whatever you want to do there. I've got a tablespoon of almond flour. That's to help in the binding of it. And salt and pepper to taste. You're going to have you a handy dandy Armstrong grater, a box grater or something like this. If you have some bacon grease on hand, it's going to give it, I imagine, some great flavor to fry it up in. So that's a secret right there. Otherwise, you can just use olive oil or whatever if you don't have that. So, all right, there we have it. Let's get it going. I went ahead and peeled these off camera. I just used an old apple peeler and cleaned them up a little bit here. It's all about tricking the brain, so I don't know if my brain would be tricked if I'm eating purple stuff in my hash browns. You can leave the peeling on, I'm sure, and it wouldn't hurt a thing. Probably some extra vitamins and stuff in there, but I took mine off. So now we get down to the manual labor part of things, and I don't know if you got one of the shredder attachments for your processor or your food processor, that would probably work. I'm just using the old simple shredder here. You can have a box grater or something like that. I like this one because it don't take up much space, but all we're going to do now is shred this up into little hash browns. And don't forget to stop shredding before your fingers get in there, because you'll shred your finger. Ask me how I know that, right? Just get it down to the last little piece and don't worry about it. Here we have the 2 turnips. They were kind of smaller turnips, not like a huge thing. But I'm going to dump this into a bowl. Now I'm going to go add some water to this. This step is to help remove a little bit of the starchiness and the bitterness maybe that's in the turnips. So I'm going to go do that, and we'll be back in here in just a minute. I put the shredded turnips in some water. I let it sit in here for about 5-10 minutes while I was doing some other things. And the main thing here, if you want crispy hash browns, is to get out the water. Because if you don't get out the water, you're going to have steamed hash browns instead of fried hash browns. So I used cheesecloth for mine. You can use a clean towel or whatever. And then I put it in here on some paper towels to even get out some more. It almost feels like coconut flakes now. It's just dried out, as dried as I could get it. So that's what I was wanting. Now let's get this stuff mixed up. So I'm going to transfer this over to the bowl. And this is going to make I don't know how many this is going to make, but I'm kind of making this up as I go along. So we'll see. And got that in the bowl, and I'm going to add the rest of my ingredients here real quick. And while I'm doing this, just a quick reminder, if you would like and subscribe to the channel. I'm always coming up with some kind of crazy, easy, keto, low carb recipes. And I'm sharing my own journey as well. I've lost a good bit of weight eating just like this. So yeah, follow along and enjoying the journey. And I also want to give a shout out to a lady named Jean. Jean, you know who you are. For the spatula set that you bought me. I appreciate it so much. Jean is a part of a community, and her whole thing about that is she is always full of knowledge and inspiration and encouragement to those people that are a part of that community. If you're in the Verta community, just you know her already. But thank you so much, Jean. That was a blessing to get some new spatulas. These don't look as redneck as mine did. I feel a little fancy now with my Rubbermaid bowl and some fancy spatulas. But let's mix this up right quick, and we'll get to cooking it. Here's what it looks like blended up. The only thing left to do now is throw it in the pan and hope for the best. So let's see how it goes. I've got my bacon grease in the pan. It's warmed up. I've got it on medium heat. And what we're going to do is just go ahead and start tossing some of this stuff in. And we'll form it once we get. I'm gonna do one at a time just to experiment with. So there's that. I'm gonna kind of flatten it out with my spatula here. I want it a little thinner. And I apologize for the noise. My kitchen is also my laundry room, and I'm doing some laundry for the week. And so I apologize for that in the background. That's one of the reasons I don't normally film in here, because this is a multi-functional room, I guess. But all right, it's in a square. Kind of forming it up just a little bit. And I'm going to do this a couple of different ways. I'm going to try it this way, and I'm also going to try it in the chaffle maker just to see how that works too. But now the key is to wait just a little while so it's brown. I don't want to flip it too soon and make this. And yeah, that brings up another point. Everybody's got different ideas of what hash browns are. You know, some people like it all shredded all over the place. Some people like it in cubes. This is kind of like the kind you find at the McDonald's or something like that. So hey, whichever one you like the best, if it works like this, I'm sure it's going to work the way that you like it. The trick here is knowing when to flip it. Otherwise, it's going to end up being a shredded mess in the pan. So I'm trying to be patient, let it brown up on the bottom, and then I'll try to flip it here in just a minute. As you can tell, I used the other spatula to help me flip this over to keep it from falling apart. It's kind of fragile, so you do it however you need to do it, and don't worry about that. But right now, that looks a lot like a hash brown. We'll let it cook a little bit on this side and go test it out. Okay, so the second option I'm going to go with is the old chaffle maker. Now, look, I'm all about fast and easy. That over there on the stove took a few minutes. I'm going to try to see if I can speed the process up here. Now I'm going to fill this up. And one thing I changed about the recipe was I added another 1/4 cup of mozzarella to this for the chaffle maker. And I also added about a tablespoon of bacon grease to this mixture, melted, to give it that good flavor. So let's pour it in here. And you want to go a little thick on this so it'll do right. I'm trying to get them to hold together a little better. I mean, they were real fragile in the pan, and I'm hoping this will be a little easier way to make them hold together. And oh man, I smell the onions cooking already. Oh man, this is going to be awesome. I can already tell. Well, that's close enough. Let's close the lid and wait. I'm going to press it just a little bit so all that steam releasing. As you can see, I'm using a skewer to kind of get this out. I always use this for my chaffles because I don't have to worry about scratching my chaffle maker or nothing, but just kind of popping it up and putting it on a cooling rack. And here's our final product. That was the one that was in the frying pan, and that is the chaffle. And we're going to give it an honest taste testing here. This is my favorite time of the video. As you know, if you've been around for a little while, and looking behind me, you would think that I live in Alaska or somewhere. But this is North Carolina, and this is very rare. So that's the backdrop today, and I wanted something nice and warm and hearty to eat. So I am willing to try this out, and I'm excited about it. I'm going to try the one from I'm just using my hands here, the frying pan first. And man, that is good. If I had a blindfold on and you said, here's some hash browns, I want you to give it a try, I would probably not be able to tell that wasn't potatoes. And in a keto game or low carb game, whatever you're doing, it's kind of, the name of the game is tricking your mind. So my mind is tricked. Now I'm going to try the chaffle one. And I like the looks of this. Man, that is spot on. I knew a while back when I tried out the corned beef hash using radishes and turnips that this was probably going to be awesome. In my opinion, now this is just my opinion, I think the chaffle recipe worked out a little better. I added a little more cheese to it, about a 1/4 cup of cheese to what was left of that mixture. You can maybe add a little bit more to it. Don't be afraid to experiment. This is all this is one big experiment today. But I added more cheese to it, as you saw, and I put a little bacon grease in it that was melted. You can put butter or whatever you want in there to give it a little flavor. But man, I tell you, that is a thumbs up for me. Look in the description and you'll see both recipes and give it a try and tell me what you think. And until next time, eat well and may the Lord bless you.